How important is the climate change issue to you?
Very important because we are living in a world where you wake up in the morning and all the weather is not right, and we have flood, we had heats, we have fires, and the people are drowning in their houses. We had a lot of flood traumas just in the Ontario River, Ottawa area already, and we had Vancouver fires, we had Vancouver floods, and it's gonna continue like this for a lot of time if we are not going to change the ways we are dealing with climate change.
Well, on the one hand, I'll say I think it's enormously important. On the other hand, I'll ask myself, what are the things that I'm doing? And we're getting away with a lot here in Ottawa. We can kind of live a normal life and watch the rest of the world evaporate or burn up. So it's very important. And the government needs to understand there's more resolve out there to do the hard decisions than I think they've felt. But I don't blame them for uh, backing off when you get the loud voices. But it's pretty clear it has to be done. So, and it's going to hurt. It's really going to hurt.
Climate change is very important. It is very, very important because obviously we don't know the full impact. We hear the things online, on the internet. We see the movies that depict what it would be like. But I still don't feel like people are being active or proactive about it. So
I think it's a global issue. I think it's desperately important. You know, we've got children, we'll be all right, possibly. But, you know, look at the change in the weathers, the hot, extra hot summers. I think you had a very hot summer last year. I don't know if this is seasonal for you, but it's pretty hot here. And it's been very hot in the UK, which we're not used to at all.
In Europe, the forest fires and fires in California and all throughout the world are causing devastating havoc, as are floods in places like Pakistan and drought in other areas. It's just everything seems to be off kilter, and I think that there's no denying that climate change is a reality that we all have to come to terms with, and that means now, not 20 years from now, because I don't think there'll be much left if we delay much longer.
It's extremely important, and I think the climate change, if you want to use that label, there's different labels to put on it. It's critical to our survivability in the long term. And quite frankly, it really concerns me the reaction that many people take with the populist movement, the misinformation, to not accepting the truths and actual facts of science. It's critical, and it's really important. Yeah, high end for me.
Now I'm old. It's not at the top of my list, but I do have kids, so it's fairly important, yeah. I wouldn't say it's utmost, but fairly important, yes. If you don't have Earth, you don't have life.
Very important. I got 3 grandchildren who's certainly going to need to have a better world to live in when they get older. So needs to be something done drastically about climate change.
How about you? To me personally, it's changing the world big time, and I just came back from Tuktoyaktuk up in Northwest Territories, and the permafrost and everything up there is just being destroyed, and polar bears and the whales and everything, and they look at it that way, and the effect on these people, and us, like even, hey, the weather we're getting here in Newfoundland, it's unbelievable. I love it, but we need rain. So it's a very, very important thing, myself personally, right?
Well, what climate change? You wanna see climate change? Staying right here for 2 hours is going to change.
Very important. Very important. I have children who are, from 20 to 30 years old. Hopefully they someday will have children, and I think we need to figure out how we're going to address the problem so that we have a planet that people can live in, that my children can live in, that their children can live in. I think it's a huge issue.
Oh, I think climate change is very important. I mean, you don't have to go very far to see, how in the north, how all the even like the ice flows and that are just diminishing, and with all the heat domes and all this, it's just all culminating, and we're getting to the tipping point. We've got to do something to stop all the emissions for fossil emissions and find new ways to improve. And whether it be wind power or solar power or anything green emissions, we get better at it.
Oh yeah, it's really important to me. I've heard of, there was this conference last year. I forgot the name right now. But I'm glad that we have plans for, I believe it was 2030 or 2050. And I'm really glad that Canada is part of that conference and part of the countries moving forward to deal with climate change, of course. And we're in a crisis right now where, talking with my friends, they're usually like, yeah, the individual work doesn't really count when, the mass isn't really working towards ensuring that those changes are happening and maintaining that routine. So it's definitely a crisis that's going on, and we definitely should be still trying our best to maintain and keep moving forward.